Welcome back everyone to the YouTuber League Weekly Recap. We've made it through the first week of Season 8 and there is still so much Blood Bowl left to be played, more deaths to be inflicted, and more ridiculous moments to be made. All the coaches are still learning to get their teams organized and be the best possible players they can become, and it'll be many weeks before they can truly start to shine. This week, however, of upcoming matches is sure not to disappoint you fans, who only care for the mindless violence. With that said, I am going to bring you up to date on what happened for our second week of matches, letting you know who won, who lost, and who barely survived the meat grinder on the Blood Bowl pitch.
Oh, no. Five loners.
And yours are all Snotlings, right?
I wish they were.
Because you have to buy them. Yeah, because you gotta buy the mercenary right, dude.
Our first match to start the carnage off, we have the Bosses of Sauce versus the Leg Lickers. While the ladies and the ogres may be tricky to take down, the Snotlings are certain to provide a plethora of injuries for the fans' viewing pleasure. The Amazons start off strong in the first half, having only 3 ogres to avoid and manage, while taking out 2 of the journeyman Snotling by the time they score the first touchdown.
Black, don't even say those words.
But it is what it is. Let's just touch track.
Don't mention fouling the ogres,
Good job,
please.
With time to spare in the first half, the ogres, as you would expect, prioritize causing more blood as opposed to evening out the score, with spectacular bloody results.
Well, because we're strength 2, right? No, strength 1.
Strike 1, yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. Fuck it.
Oh, yeah. We both. Oh, kill.
Ketchup claims a second life.
Well, I just will Apple. I don't want. Oh, you know what? This is the second time this has fucking happened.
Is it dead
and
apple?
it actually dead apple.
Oh, God.
Going into the second half, with only 5 Snotlings remaining for the ogre team, and 8 players total, the ogres are still in respectable shape considering their lack of reserve players. This rapidly continues to drop down, however, as the drive goes on. Thankfully, the ogre's obsession with violence does not falter, as their coach discovers their ultimate secret weapon.
Well, definitely knocked one of my players down.
And your guy's just completely okay.
Although the problem with throwing Snotlings is you do require a bench of reserves, which is made apparent as suddenly the Bosses of Sauces.
Of course he is! Of course Zobmat is injured! You've injured every Nobbler!
Now, hold it. Wait, have I? I thought there was one left on the pitch.
No! There's 8 injured Nobblers in the box!
With no one to carry the ball, the Amazons quickly extend their lead at 2-0. With the remaining turns, only 3 ogres remain to fight off an entire Amazon team. Although the witty women, however, just avoid them entirely, going for a 3-0 victory. But not before the ogres take their frustrating loss out on the lowly line women.
Well, at least you got the pal. Hey!
Bonehead dead.
I'll take that.
Yes, that's kind of why I'm looking forward to it. If they're harmless, that means I can punch them without fear of retribution.
Our second match of the week is the Battle of Brawn between the Fluffy Green Orcs and the Outworn Ideas. The Khemri start off with the ball, while the Orcs prepare to counter any follow-up plays by the Tomb Guards. Although this strategy rapidly backfires with a quick snap response from the Undead, getting right into the Black Orcs before the ball can even hit the ground. This unnatural swiftness is followed up with a touchback, where the team's coach Bright Ops gives the ball to Lumeriferous Ether. The ambitious Tomb Guard will have to be careful, as he was leading the offensive drive on the line of scrimmage for the kickoff. This play ultimately does pay off, as Ita rapidly scores with the ball, and quite possibly making the Nuffles Book of World Records for the fastest touchdown ever made by a big guy. While truly an unheard of feat, this presents Fluffy Green with the remainder of the match to be on the offensive, and with so little time spent on the first half, this can lead to a massive advantage for the Greenskins. However, with the team's mascot, Mr. Fluffy, too busy entertaining the fans, and Journeyman Morhor showing why he isn't Fluffy Green material, the drive rapidly falls apart in the first half. Entering the second half, only a single player has been taken out for both teams, leaving much more violence and brawling to be made for the kickoff. The drive plays out far better for Fluffy Green, as the linemen learn from their previous mistakes to pin down the outworn ideas. Their formation is still precarious, as the Khemri attempts to blitz down Mr. Pawpaw over time, but after a skirmish for the ball next to the end zone, the Orcs are able to stall it out to a 1-1 tie.
Alright.
Hi, have you...
Shut up, Joe! Shut up! No one wants to hear it! Alright,
Hi, have you heard about our Lady and Savior, Vivian Palidan?
Match number 3 of the week pairs the brutish lizards versus the most fragile of elves, as How Not to Contain Lizards goes up against the fragile Bloodmarks. The elven team chose to go first on the defensive, and this normally is never really a bad choice for a team that relies on finesse, as having a full line of players for the drive allows the Bloodmarks to slowly herd the lizards into the corner of the field. With 2 players knocked out by this point, they wear down the lizards' formation to eventually create an opening to sack the ball. They were even fortunate enough to take out source blocker Vladimira during this skirmish. This loss, compounded with Vivianaja down on the ground next to her adoring fans, allowed for ample opportunities at the Skinks and the ball, and this strategy was eventually rewarded with a 1-0 lead against the Lizards by the end of the first half. Even with the lead going into the second half, the Bloodmarks are down to 7 players to the Lizards' 9, with the Apothecary already using up his medical tools to recover their Blitzer Kerplunk from a career-ending injury. This still puts the Elves with enough players to win the match with a successful score. And on the kickoff, the Elves set up for a quick 2-turn touchdown to try and seal the deal. But the unrestrained Lizards, alas, were going to have none of it. With a simple dodge and blitz, the Skinks quickly sacked the ball, returning the favor to the Elves after being bullied around in the first half. All chances for the Elves securing a win then and there shattered before the Union did, as the Mighty Source immediately caused back-to-back injuries and armor breaks in the preceding turns before scoring. With several players recovering for the next drive, the opportunity for a quick 2-1 lead is still within reach. But before the Bloodmarks could enact their plans, the mighty Reptilians swiftly put an end to the Elves' bullshit. With the overwhelming pressure, the fragile Bloodmarks succumbed once more to the Lizards' might, losing the bout 1-2. In our next matchup between the Bouncing Warriors and the Jailhouse Rockers, we see a solid 2-0 victory for the Warpstone-infused players. With Dribblesnot making a return performance after his last debut, the Rockers managed to easily break through their offensive for a fast lead. Then enjoyed some free time to put the coachless team in their place after a second quick touchdown in the second half of the match.
Alright, see what happens. I think my guys.
Alright, good kick up the fence, come on.
Oh, okay. That's probably good for me.
That's decent for me, I'd say. One last turn for you guys to try and get all the shit.
Match number 5 puts the godlike Puns going up against the Slaaneshi Elves. Both teams are surprisingly similar in that neither team wants to get caught in a drawn-out brawl. But for this match, the Norse are unusually disciplined in the first half, as they are able to control the sidelines with the power of their Ulfwerners. The Elves show their unease at being served, as their screening is middling at best, and despite their efforts, the Norse very comfortably get a 1-0 lead by halftime. Going into the second half, with only a single Norse player off the field, the offensive now goes to the Elves. After some risky plays to secure the ball, the Elves end up finally scoring first blood of the match and sitting comfortably at a 2-player lead. Although this doesn't prove to be too much of an advantage for the Elves, as they stumble to the plays and leave themselves vulnerable to Ulfwerner surfing to eventually even up the numbers. Eventually, the godlike plays for the ball and secures a 2-0 victory.
He's fine.
Match number 6 has the Reichland All-Elite versus the mini Sons of Anarchy, as things start off incredibly well for our bearded contenders. A botched offensive drive and early injury on Ogre Miro immediately ended all pressure the All-Stars were mounting. Only through sheer desperation and favoring from Nuffle were the humans from Reichland able to recover with no further casualties and still score a 1-0 lead by the end of the first half. Going into the second half, and with the Sons of Anarchy on the offensive, the Dwarves start getting a little too hungry for blood as they aggressively charge into the Reichland's formation. Despite the resilience of the Dwarves, the strategy backfires as Nuffle's kiss inflicts valuable turnovers. With slow precision, the champions of Sigmar manage to steal the ball and take it out to a 2-0 victory.
It's just nuclear snow.
Do you miss the old days of playing the enemy?
Oh no! Damn it!
No, it's just done. That's not too bad.
It is time to unleash the werewolves once again, as the Greatest Cage goes against the Nuclear Winters for Match 7 of the week. The Elves, aiming for a fast touchdown, feint to the sidelines as players make a break past the Necromantic's line. It looks promising initially, as the Greatest Cage stumble heavily in their attempts to contain their players. But after finally setting up for the pass, the dream suddenly falls apart as Blitzer Winter fumbles the ball. Werewolves immediately dive the ball like it's their favorite meal, and manage to successfully secure it, leaving the Elves on the defensive as they struggle to contain the feral pups. They rapidly fall apart as play after play, the undead are able to tackle down any plan they try to set up. Until finally, nearing the end of the first half, lineman Icicle is able to make a final blitz on the ball carrier to keep the game tied going into the second half. It's been a very painful game so far for the Nuclear Winters. Down a 3-player deficit due to injuries, the second half is going to be an uphill battle for them. With gone in 60 seconds fumbling the ball, there is however a slight glimmer of hope to strike back on the Necromantic. The undead however manage to safely secure the ball as they continue to tear through the winter with their flesh golems and werewolves. Players continue to fall and the injuries continue to mount, but somehow Formal's team is able to sack the ball at every opportunity. Even down to 5 players, they are able to keep the Necromantic to a no-scoring game.
At least the last one I knew what they were, and now I have to remember what they are, even though I just made them like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's always rough.
And to finish off our round with the match of the week, we have the newly reformed Chaos Dwarf Curse Suffering versus Omega Eta Alpha. To say this match was not your typical game of 2 bashy teams would be a fast understatement. But don't take my word for it, as the game opens up in a blitz for the undead, which ultimately only served to annoy our newly formed Dwarven team. For after a good round of bashes, we see the undead players on the ground and separate from one another. However, an ambitious hobgoblin, ignoring their cage formation, leaves an open window to sack the ball early on. After this ball sack is where the fun truly begins for this match. Suddenly, the undead players became elves. Or perhaps, they always were elves, as Party Boy casually walks up to grab the ball.
Yes, do it.
Okay.
You fuck God,
The white was not able to hang on to the ball, however, but with both of Scythe's Schools players out with injuries already, it all falls onto the rest of the team to secure a win from this point onward. With the cursed dwarves reclaiming the ball, they were just inches away from breaking through the undead's line.
It sure do be that way, Oath. Holy shit. I've embraced the bad luck and it's working out.
The option.
Oh my Jesus.
Yeah, don't worry, I still have to make 2 more rolls.
You made them.
Surprisingly, yes. I'll go that way, and I'll follow it. And I'll get the ball.
Come on! Are you kidding me?
Until Pledge Limpbart, inspired by Party Boy, tackles the ball back from the hobgoblin's dirty mitts. The ambitious undead, stirred by something more powerful than even necromancy, sprints back through the line of scrimmage. Although the deceased nature allowed for the ball to quickly change hands once again. The damage was already done, however, for the sufferer's offensive drive, for with that chaos that unfolded, there was no longer time to score a touchdown for the first half of the game. Moving into the second half, Roger's team still has a substantial advantage. With both goals out, and 2 extra undead players off the field, it all fell upon the whites to carry the team to victory.
Well, that's lucky. Get that guy over there.
Jesus fucking. The number of 6s that are rolled.
Yeah.
This isn't right.
Just give Bones Malone a cape, and he might as well be a white, okay? At least catching the ball from a high kick at least would make sense then. With that said, however, the outworn ideas may very well have lost their match in week 1 due to relying on the slow nature of their skeletons, and with the dwarves putting pressure on the ball already, they will be hard pressed to gain any momentum on the drive. After Bull Centaur Shack successfully tackles the ball loose, Elven Necromancy strikes again for a white in training.
Probably won't, but I mean, one way to find out. Jesus. Hey, it does. I mean, I might as well try a pass. It's some experience. Yes! Makes the throw. Makes the catch. I get experience.
I'm just... This game is giving me a headache.
For with a very unlikely pass of the ball, the Omega Undead start to make a break through the line of scrimmage. More milestones were made this half, for after making the stunning play earlier, Bones Malone succeeds in keeping Shax out of play.
You're right.
Come on! Jesus!
Oh, the bullshit in this game is serious.
The bullshit in this game is bullshit.
It is. It is total bullshit. You should be destroying me at this point.
This is just no! This isn't right!
It really isn't. Like,
it's just...
in.
What is happening?
Like, by all rights, you should be winning right now.
What the fuck is happening?
But no, Nuffle's like, no, I don't care how good you're doing. You lose.
Despite Bones Malone carrying the team without their prize goals, the rest of the team was not able to follow through on the infamous Elven bullshit play. For with one final sack of the ball, Dalinar is able to break free with the ball in hand and secure that oh-so-sweet victory after such a sanity-breaking game.
Dalinar with a touchdown! What a fucking contrast of games today.
Yep. It was a good one.
Goddamn contrast. No bullshit at all in the first one, and this one was a bullshit fest.
The entire thing. Oh, I'll take a 4.
Following the match, rumors have started to circulate that Dalinar may in fact be Lubu, the Bull Centaur captain, leading the treacherous legions. Roger Def had this to say in response to these allegations.
There is no Lubu anymore, Oath. In fact, I don't even know where Lubu went. Nobody can find him.
He's wearing a fake mustache. He's in your team right now.
I don't know who he is then.
Pick one.
That sadly brings us to an end of the Week 2 matchups, placing our top 3 teams in the rankings going into Week 3 of the season, with the Reichland All Elite, How Not to Contain Lizards, and the Jailhouse Rockers. 2 of these teams did go up against the coachless Bouncing Warriors, so their spot on the pedestal may very well be short-lived. And as we get further into the season, I will look more in depth at these teams so we can see who the star players are and who's got the biggest targets on their heads. For now, let's talk about the upcoming round of matches to look forward to. First up is going to be Omega Eta Alpha fighting How Not to Contain Lizards. You can't help but love 2 bash-focused teams going up against each other, so no matter how this plays out, the fans are surely going to win. Although with a Source Blitzer and Sarah Muragatroy, essentially negating one of the biggest weaknesses for a Lizard team early in the season, there is a strong chance the Lizards will come out on top if they can avoid early injuries from the towering mummies. Match 2 is going to be the Jailhouse Rockers facing off against Fluffy Green, as we are going to find out if the Jailhouse Rockers are all luck, or if there's more than meets the eye underneath their Warpstone infusions. With 2 ridiculous goblins in Juvenile and Grand Theft, this team is capable of some incredibly unique plays. Juvenile has been rumored to be injecting a special kind of Warpstone steroids, making him the strongest goblin in the league, while Grand Theft has been working on strengthening his throwing arm. Will this make a difference in halting the orcs? Most likely no, but they are already some of the crowd favorites of the league thus far. Match 3 will be the Elves vs Amazons, as the Slaaneshi Elves go up against the Leg Lickers. The Elves are still in the process of building up momentum to truly be a terrifying team, which gives the Amazons a substantial advantage going into this match. A little bit of luck may be required from Nuffle or Rumpke's goddess Vivian Aja for the Elves to secure victory. Match 4 is the Reichland All Elite versus the Cursed Suffering. If Roger hasn't recovered from his sanity-breaking experience last week, then he may be the second dwarf team to fall before the might of the humans. The All Elite are an incredibly strong team right now, with Star Blitzer CM Punk also rumored to be trading with Black Templar for Warpstone steroids. But these are still rumors at best. Match 5 is the Greatest Cage versus the Bosses of Sauce. Ranch has made a full recovery and brings the team back to 4 ogres strong for this upcoming match. This is sure to be a bloody game, as it always is with the ogres, but the question on everyone's mind is if the werewolves can sink their claws on those giant brutes. Look forward to this match. Match 6 puts the Nuclear Winters up against the Outworn Ideas. With Tombguard Ether currently exploring a secret type of training over the tried and true art of big guy murdering, the Khemri are going to be hard pressed to secure a large number of casualties. This match could very likely go to the Dark Elves if the undead are able to get a very strong offensive half. Match 7 is Mini Sons of Anarchy against the Fragile Bloodmarks. The Bloodmarks are true to their name this week, with 3 players out for the match, including one of their 2 catchers, Paper, and this will heavily limit Gladiator's options for this upcoming match. But the Sons of Anarchy have been struggling to get their team together, and with the lack of training the elves currently have, this may still be the best time to face the dwarves and secure a win. Our final match for the week is Godlike Puns versus the Bouncing Warriors. Say your prayers to the battered and blockless Kislev, for there's probably going to be nothing left of them after this match. Try not to have too much fun with this upcoming game mult. Thank you everyone for tuning in for another weekly recap of the season. The plan for next upcoming videos is to get more in depth with these teams and see how our rankings are ultimately looking and who our star players are. For only 8 of these teams are going to be able to make it to the playoffs, and you, the viewing fans, are going to benefit from their fight to claim one of those spots. Have a good night.